Hey everyone, welcome back to Custom Guns and Reloading. Just want to make a quick addendum video to the 16-inch Rosco barrel upper build series here, and mention some things you should do before you actually go out and test fire the upper. The first thing to note is once you have everything assembled, make sure that your gas tube is actually going into the upper far enough. It should kind of stop about halfway into this little semicircle. If it ends closer towards the barrel side of things, it's not going to be protruding far enough into the upper, and you'll probably get short stroking type of issues because there's not enough gas making its way into the upper because it's not sealed all the way onto the gas key on the carrier. So this part right here, it's not going far enough in that. So definitely check that before you start going out and troubleshooting short stroking. These are just some quick things to check. That's number one. Number two is watch out for m-lok screws potentially hitting your gas block. So this is a 13-inch handguard on a 16-inch barrel. So my last m-lok slot is actually right over top of the gas block. So if I were to attach something like this Picatinny m-lok attachment right here, and you can look, if the screws aren't too long and it's not touching the gas block, you're fine. But if they are, then it's going to cause inconsistency issues in how your upper shoots. So I would just do it like down here instead. Try to get the bipod as far as you can out there, but having it right here would be just fine. So just a quick note, if you have any kind of a grip or bipod accessory or whatever attached to your m-lok, just make sure any of those screws aren't touching the barrel or the gas block. They usually won't touch the barrel, but if you have a thicker barrel, it could potentially interfere. So that could cause accuracy issues. Again, if it's just a short range blaster and you don't really care, go for it. But this is in the context of an accurized upper. Okay, talked about m-lok screws. Now, the other thing to check is more focused on the, oh, sorry, one other thing too, mentioning the gas tube. I would also check with your just the carrier itself. You don't need to have the bolt or anything in there. Test how it slides into the upper and meets with the gas tube. Sometimes if the gas tube is bent a little bit one way, up, down, left, right, it might not seat very well or seat with a lot of resistance. So if you do feel that you might need to bend and play around with the gas tube, this feels fine. You can hear it when it hits the tube a little bit, but yeah, it's testing fine. I'm not feeling too much resistance there. So that's one other thing to check on the upper. Now, moving on to like the bolt. One thing I like to check is on your extractor, get your pin and just see if it spins freely on here. This one looks fine. Sometimes they're, due for whatever reason, it's not spinning, then you're gonna have extraction issues. So I would check that. I would also check how your cam pin fits into the bolt. Does it spin freely? Is there any weight resistance? It should be fairly smooth, but not too, it shouldn't have a whole lot of slop in there. So it should be nice and tight, but spin freely and everything. So check that. I'd also check your firing pin. Slide this in the bolt. Make sure it slides freely, doesn't get jammed up or grabbed onto anything. This is not the firing pin that came with this Radian bolt. This is actually, I think, a BCM firing pin, and I believe these are stainless. I think mil spec is like a chromoly or some type of steel that's chrome plated. So this is not quite mil spec, but just check your pin. They're fairly inexpensive, so just get a bunch and just check, make sure you have a good match. And you could also put the cam pin in there and check how the whole sort of assembly fits together, right? Make sure there's no binding or whatever. And then finally, the last thing I like to do is, you might not be able to see here, I use a little punch, a pin to mark one side of this cam pin so that I can orient it the same way every time I put it in the bolts. I actually use this little castle nut thing that's, I think it's like Echo Zulu. It's just a spring-loaded punch, and you just you can hold this in a vise or just hold it and just it'll mark it. You just got to do it a couple times. So a lot of the cam pins will come pre-marked with a little arrow or a little slot or whatever. So supposedly if you orient it the same way, it'll help prevent uneven wear and probably egging out of this cam pin hole. But so that's another sort of best practice that folks like to follow there. So once you do all these checks, you sort of, like I said, check most of the boxes. And I would also fully assemble the, I'm not going to do it on camera here. I'll just put your bolt carrier group fully back together and make sure also it'll slide freely in the upper as well. But it should be fine if you already checked the gas key, but you never know, there could be other little things on there that could get caught up. So that's the final thing. And then after that, you can do your test firing and make sure you're not getting short stroking or failure to feed, failure to eject, etc., or failure to lock. So yeah, just a quick note here on things to check before you actually do your test firing. Thanks everyone. Take care.